Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Lamont Tyson, the creator of Life Gains, which is a channel designed to help everyone make life gains through engaging and sometimes informative videos. He covers movie reviews, trailer reviews, TV shows, and trending topics really of all kinds. Lamont, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Grant. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. So, after looking at your channel, I kind of got an idea of your life story. I was hoping you could share kind of your, like everything that led you up to YouTube. I know you started as a respiratory therapist. That was kind of your original career path. And then somehow you ended up on YouTube. And I was just wondering if you could kind of fill us in on all the in betweens and all the twists and turns you've taken to get to where you are right now.
Yeah, a wise man once said that the path straight is never the path followed when you're trying to get to something of a higher gain. And that's exactly what it was for me. As you said, I started out a respiratory therapist working with children in the outpatient setting in the state of North Carolina. And during that time, I was a heavy kid, and I got into respiratory care because what got me heavy as a child was asthma. And so I had no idea there was such thing as a respiratory therapist. And during the time I was practicing respiratory care, I was heavy again, which had been a battle I had been dealing with my whole life. And so I started an outpatient practice working with children in the pre-K setting and in early child care, basically going and doing treatments with these kids to educate them and their parents on how to prevent asthma, because asthma is usually the number one reason why children go to the emergency room, and do care plans, treatments, and all that. And the state of North Carolina around 2015ish decided that they was going to pull the funding of how I got paid for that program from the North Carolina budget. And so I had already heard the writings on the wall that that was going to happen. And so about 3 years prior to that, I started an early child care business, bought a building, franchised myself, and started doing that kind of like the last 2 years before they pulled that budget. And on top of all that, I finally kind of overcame the issue of being an extremely heavy person. In 2015, I won the Gold's Gym Challenge for my store here in Elon in Burlington, North Carolina, and decided, you know what, I better share this journey because it looks like my time as a respiratory therapist is about to be over. And so from there, my YouTube channel was actually created, Grant, believe it or not, on fitness. It started on fitness. I went from 315 pounds down to about 195,
Wow.
10% body fat, had muscles. And I did all this while I was still doing respiratory care and still was trying to start a new venture with early child care. And so I said, let me try to share this with everybody else and see what could happen. And it wasn't working for me. I'm what you would call a natural lifter, someone who didn't use performance enhancers to achieve my look. And natural lifters don't tend to have that freakish look that a lot of people expect to see when you're watching these influencers on YouTube, Instagram, and other places. And so I went from doing fitness to starting to talk a little bit about politics. And that was a head banger too, because that wasn't going anywhere. And so I posted a video one day about streaming TV and how to cut the cord. And for whatever reason, that video just took off. And so I careened into doing streaming cut the cord videos, which kind of started growing my following. I went from maybe 800 subscribers at the time to almost 5,000, literally, it seemed like in 2 months, just by doing cord cutting material.
Wow.
And I had also at that point in time, the respiratory care business was done. And the child care business that I tried to franchise, it didn't work out well. But the smart thing I did in my business plan was that I put in the plan that if all else fails, I'll still own the property and the real estate so I could just lease it out to someone. That's what we did for a little while. And so I decided, you know what? My wife's uncle owns a truck in Detroit, makes good money as an independent trucker. So I decided I'm going to go to trucking school and I'm going to record my journey along the way. And I start posting videos of trucking school and recording what happens in the trucking school. And let me just tell you, it was some funny mess going on in that school. And some of those videos took off, but my heart never really was in trucking. I was only doing that as a way to see if I wanted to own my own truck, maybe start my own company, and I didn't. And so that careened me back home into finishing doing streaming content videos, because at that point in time, everybody was trying to cut the cord. Cody was a hot thing out at that era. And so those videos was taking off, and that eventually got my channel up to about 60,000 subscribers.
Oh,
And
dang.
so from there, I started saying, let me see what else I can do on this channel that I'm very much interested in. So I follow a consumer advocate named Clark Howard. The way I learned to invest and save my money and prepare for the future was because of him. And I really wanted to teach people some of those modalities as well. So I started putting out a little bit of content talking about saving money, how to invest. And needless to say, that wasn't going anywhere. I mean, they liked the cut the cord material, but they really wasn't feeling all the other very unentertaining ways to save and make money. And so from there, I started putting out videos about TV shows and movies, because if I'm talking about cutting the cord and people watching TV, it felt like a natural fit to me. And plus, I was passionate about certain TV shows. And so I put a trailer review out one day, and that trailer review within a day went to 50,000 views. And I said, man, this is something. And so from there, I started reviewing the TV show Power, and then kind of started doing other channels, and the rest is academic at this point. I went from about 60,000 subscribers to where I'm at now, which is 137,000. And that's kind of the story of how I grew on YouTube.
Wow, that like I didn't realize there was that many twists and turns. So I mean
Yeah.
that's really fascinating. I think that's one thing I enjoy a lot about talking to YouTubers is kind of all of the strange ways that you end up getting to where you are. I mean, I wasn't expecting trucking school to come into this, and for that to be a part of your channel's history even. So I know like when I was watching your videos, you talked a bit about dealing with demonetization on
Right.
YouTube. And this is, of course, the Video Creator Show. Demonetization is a topic that YouTubers kind of have to deal with. So I was wondering if you could kind of share with people how you pivoted in response to demonetization and sort of having ads cut on your videos.
Um, One thing I would tell people, when you get on YouTube, make sure that you have a plan, especially when you're new and you're just starting out. If you're going to use YouTube as a vehicle to make an income, make sure when you first start out, you've got something you want to sell that you can make money from, or you're planning to have a lot of time to grow. I would say maybe have yourself a website with where you're selling T-shirts, maybe you're selling programs, maybe you're selling a service, and let that be your monetization before you actually get monetized on YouTube. Because oftentimes people think that once you get on YouTube, you're going to start making a lot of money, and it takes some time before you get to that point. But if you have a vehicle, you can go ahead and monetize. It really helps with the growth when in terms of growing money on YouTube. And I've navigated demonetization by doing a couple of things. Number one, I make sure that my income is diversified. I own real estate, and I'm heavy into stocks. I do my own kind of stock trading on a month to month basis to generate some extra income beyond what YouTube does. And I also make sure I try to diversify the platforms in which my entertainment is put out. So I've got a podcast, but I'm not really good at posting my stuff on the podcast the way I should be. And I've been growing that along with my YouTube. So just in the event YouTube happens to wig out on me again and demonetize me and kick me off for 6 months, I've still got other platforms where my content is present and it's still growing. And the basic way I was able to circumvent them demonetizing me for something that happened years ago that I had no idea was a problem is I just had to keep bugging YouTube. I kept sending emails into YouTube saying this is not an issue for me, this is not the content I put out. And what it turned out being was there was a link posted under my video in the comment section that was a link to something that's banned on YouTube. And after about 3 or 4 months of not having my channel, they finally figured that out after me bugging them, and they wound up giving me my channel back. But here's the problem that happened. Once I did get my channel back, all the momentum I had came to a screeching halt. I was garnering about 5,000 subscribers a month when they took my channel, and I was right at about 112,000 subscribers. And all that came to a screeching halt because my channel was put on hold for about 3 or 4 months. And so it was almost kind of like starting anew when I came back. And in the meantime, that taught me that I better diversify the income streams I have, which I'm telling everyone else they need to do that as well.
Yeah,
And it
smart.
also taught me you better have a backup content provider for your content, which works as a podcast. There's other platforms out there nowadays that you can seek out to put out content. And so I would tell future content providers, make sure you diversify not only the streams of income you have with your YouTube channel, but also make sure you diversify your YouTube channel with another platform that puts out your content.
And I know you have shoplifegains.com, where you sell merchandise and products. Like, can you tell us a bit about that and kind of how did you integrate that into your YouTube channel? Because one of the hardest things on YouTube is getting people to move to another platform, even if it's just your own website. Like this is something a lot of people I talk to, they struggle with it. So what advice do you have for people on like building a website that can actually generate revenue, that you can use your YouTube channel to push?
I would tell people to find a website that is easy for you personally to use. There's a lot of them out there. I personally use Shopify. That one was easy to navigate, easy to set up, and I'm kind of in the middle when it comes to tech savvy. I understand the tech. I know how to use a lot of it, but when it comes to building a website, I'm not as savvy as I am on other parts of tech. But I feel like pretty much anyone can use Shopify to build their brand and sell merchandise. And basically, what I did was when I'm doing my videos, sometimes I'll write up blogs, which you can put on your Shopify website. And you can also tell people when they click on it, there's usually some content that I produce that has t-shirts that run parallel to that content. So if I'm doing a particular show, I'll go and find something that's not copyrighted material from that show, maybe the face of an individual or a saying that that individual does, and I'll buy a t-shirt for myself, wear it on some of my reviews, and just kind of throw in there shoplifegains.com if you want to wear the t-shirt that I'm wearing that mentions a saying from said show that we're reviewing as a unit.
I gotcha. All right, so you've found a really good way to kind of organically integrate your merchandise into your videos. I think that's one thing that people struggle with. I also like that you have used like getting around copyright as a way to pitch your
Yeah.
website. Essentially, that's very clever because I know copyright can be a real big issue on YouTube, especially with someone in your space where you're reviewing TV shows and as I know your kind of latest stage of your channel right now is just covering TV shows and kind of I'm sure having to get around clips in clever ways is that took a lot of brain space to figure out, or was it more quickly, or did you figure that out more quickly?
Over the years, it's gotten harder to show clips. I've listened to a lot of other content providers about the ways and means to show clips, and it really and truly varies based on whoever's putting out the content. And so, for example, Disney generally doesn't mind people doing trailer reviews and using those because they kind of feel like it's going to help bring us more traffic. A lot of geeks and nerds and people who love comics and Disney are out here basically reviewing our products for us, bringing us their audience. So Disney typically doesn't get you with a demonetization on their use, but pretty much everybody else does. And for the most part, if you keep your clip to about 15 seconds, usually no one bothers you. But even then, that's not a science because they can come and take it. But what YouTube has done to help you with that is if you use a clip, they've got it very easy for you to go in and on the back end of your editing that they do for you, they'll just take the clip out for you. And in one day, it'll be back up and that clip will be gone. It's just be a little bit of a hole in your content. And so I always tell creators, excuse me, if possible, just take the pictures and voice over what you want to say based on what's going on in said trailer so that you don't have to worry about that type of thing happening.
Yeah, great advice, and especially the clip advice. I think it depends what realm you're in. So I helped start an anime channel, and at least when you're covering anime, you have to. It's a maximum of 8 seconds, I believe. So it sounds like Disney is more lenient. 15 seconds will do. That's pretty generous. I'm kind of surprised Disney would be so cool like that, but I guess they are smart enough to know it's good marketing. I'm kind of amazed how
Right.
many companies do copyright YouTubers heavily, because
Oh,
a lot of the times it's just free marketing for them, right?
it's unbelievable, and music is even worse than movies and TV shows. Music, you might get at best 6 seconds, and it's like on the 8th second they will demonetize your whole entire video. You could have a video that's 30 minutes with an 8 second clip of music in there, and they will try to demonetize the whole entire video. It almost gets to a point of you don't even want to spend the time to edit for 8 seconds. And so I always tell content creators, use your best discretion on that, because it can be a tedious and frustrating process if every time you try to use a clip to help make your claim for said video, said music, you're getting demonetized. It can be very frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And so another interesting thing I noticed about your channel is most of your uploads recently have been live streams. Like you live
Right.
stream much more often than you post normal videos. Why did you make that choice?
Right now, I'm supposed to be on vacation.
Okay.
I'm kind of on vacation right now. I'm just kind of taking a break, quote unquote, from YouTube. And in all honesty, I would tell creators that are building their channels, it's very hard to build your channel and the SEO and the algorithm by just doing live streams. YouTube rewards uploads. Uploads are more easily passed around, and you just get better rewards and better growth from uploading versus live stream. I tell people, use live stream to engage the audience you have currently or the audience you've grown, and use upload to continue to engage that audience, but also garner a new audience.
Hmm. Makes sense. Yeah, like my experience with live streaming is essentially that, where I don't reach new people, but I do connect more deeply with the people who are already there. And I feel
Right,
like live streaming, it's like the most diehard fans kind of show up for the live stream.
right.
There's something about, I think, interacting with a creator live and being able to ask them questions or something that I think really it makes you feel more connected to them. And then those people are more likely to show up and watch your non-stream videos as well.
Right.
So yeah, streaming can really be worth it for sure.
And definitely when you stream, those are definitely your opportunities to promote anything that you have that you're selling, whether it be your website, whether it be some kind of service you're selling, whether you're promoting others, whether you're doing interviews. I've started interviewing celebrities, and I always do that live stream just so that my audience can get a chance to engage these said celebrities. So I would always tell people, when you do your live stream, make sure that is the opportunity in which you promote all the things that you have to offer to your audience that can give them value.
Hmm. So like, what are some promotions that you often do on your streams? I assume you pitch your website and kind of bring all that stuff up. But like, how do you go about doing that?
It just depends on usually what's in the news, what's surrounding the TV show I'm doing, and if I'm promoting someone else. One thing that I do a lot on my channel is I bring on guests to try to promote them, similar to what you're doing right here with your channel and your podcast. But I try to do it for people who are in the TV and movie and streaming arena, to just try to give them an opportunity to network, grow, and be inspired. And I typically will pitch something that is dealing with whatever the current event is. So not too long ago, it was Christmas time. And so a friend of mine had Christmas cookies that they were selling that was already boxed. So I did a promotion with them to pitch their Christmas cookies. And I actually did that promotion for free because this is a person I had networked with a couple of years ago, and they was just getting off them feet. And I wanted to make sure that they stayed engaged and stayed with their mind and their eyes on the prize. And so that was a promotion I did around Christmas.
Right on. All right. So, I one thing I also wanted to talk to you about is your fitness journey, if that's what you want to call it. It's I think difficult for people to sit down and focus sometimes when they want to start a YouTube channel. And one thing that helps cultivate focus can be exercise and or just like sharpening your mind and body in some way. Like so you said you went from 350 pounds down to below 200. Can you like kind of take us through that and kind of how you got over that hurdle and bettered yourself in that way? Because I assume that fed into your YouTube channel and all of your other businesses as well.
It did. The discipline required to lose that kind of weight transcends everything you're doing in your life. It puts a state of discipline in everything you're doing, from organizing your channel, organizing your thoughts, organizing your business, to being able to plan properly. And so I didn't lose that weight in essence in a year. It took me about 3 years, but I went from 315 and I chunked myself down to about 290. Then I chunked myself down to about 275. Then I chunked myself down to about 245. And at 245 was when I went from, still having a belly and all that to, I went from 245 all the way down to 195, had abs, got ripped up and all that. And that took my mind to a different place, because to lose the initial weight was kind of easy just because I had so much of it to lose. But to get off that last piece took a whole lot of discipline and grit. And as you mentioned, those things do carry over into every area of your life, because when you're really, really fit, it is also a talking point for a lot of people. So people would see how lean I was and they would just stop me out in the community, ask me, hey, what kind of diet are you doing? What kind of fitness are you doing? And I made some great networks and relationships. And one of them was with a bank that wound up giving me a loan for $297,000, because I met a banker who was trying to lose weight, and he saw how lean I was and couldn't believe that I was someone that used to be 315 pounds 2 years ago. And so that discipline and that diet definitely transcends what you're doing in terms of fitness over to all the other areas of your life. And the hardest thing it is to do for most people is to eat correctly. And so if you can fashion that and stick with it, there's probably nothing you can't achieve. So I'm a big proponent of people getting your fitness in line first will also help you get everything else in line when it seems like all other things are failing.
Hmm. And so, what did your general fitness program look like? I remember you recently you deadlifted like 450 pounds. Sounds like you're doing a lot of weightlifting, things of that sort. Like what did your routine look like in the beginning, in versus what it looks like now?
Oh man, I've pretty much been a heavy person my whole entire life, because of my asthma. And I was in the sixth grade at 5'8". I weighed 202 pounds in the sixth grade, and that just kind of stuck with me my whole entire life. And so in the beginning, when I was trying to get things together, I was running around here with a lot of the myths that a lot of people have from the things they see on TV or hear on social media in terms of diet and exercise. And I didn't really have a path. So I started out eating like one meal a day, of just like rice and grilled chicken. And that carried me for a very long. That took me from 315 to about 290. But the problem with the one meal was I was constantly hungry, and trying to wait till that next meal time was starting to put me in trouble, where I would stop and get some other things. And so
Mm.
I gained maybe two or 3 pounds from that in about a week or two, and realized I've got to do better. And so from there, I hired a personal trainer. Now, the quality of this trainer wasn't that great. He taught me how to lift, but he didn't really give me any insight on diet. And the most important thing when you're trying to get on a fitness journey is the diet. So I got really strong. I mean, hella strong, but my physique didn't change at all. If anything, I got wider. And so from there, I met the person that I would finally marry, who was all about fitness as well, and said, you know what, why don't you get a trainer who is natural and can really help you understand this whole food journey. And when I done that, and I'm still to this day, I use that same coach. I used that coach, learned about food, how to stimulate the blood sugar, how to exercise with those foods, and I began doing cardio 5 days a week, strength training 5 days a week, and I've got my macronutrients in a way that fit my specific body. And then one day I would do a high intensity exercise that was kind of like CrossFit, to just really shake up the body. And that's pretty much what I've been running with since 2015.
Hmm. I like what you said about the diet being the most important part. I think that's one thing I definitely forget. I'm reasonably active. My diet is it's fine. It's not bad, but I There's like a feeling after working out where it's interesting. I feel like moving makes it easier to eat healthy. There's something about being stationary a bunch where I just kind of want to eat french fries and drink soda. But once I actually start moving and exercising, I feel like that makes a diet easier to stick to. Though it sounds like you kind of started only with the diet, which I think is impressive. I don't know if I would have been able to do that.
No, you're 100% right. When you start moving, it's almost as if the body doesn't want you to put anything in there that can break its streak of moving freely on good fuel. And
Mm,
so I'm guilty of exactly what you just said. If I eat bad, I don't want to move. And that, compounds into more bad eating. And then next thing you know, you done been eating like that to the point where you're back in a bad, vicious habit of eating like that, not moving, and then you kind of throw yourself out of whack. So that's generally how it tends to work. And I always encourage people, if you really are having a situation where craving is just bothering you, go do some cardio, and you might want to go and get a smoothie afterwards instead of that ice cream shake.
hmm Yeah, great advice. It's there's just something about it. I think sweating it out, getting some energy out. I think our bodies like they need to burn a certain amount of energy, or else you kind of feel like I don't know, you need to quell your bad feelings inside. And a lot of people they
Right.
end up trying to do it with ice cream or French
Yep.
fries or something like that. But if you can get that energy out or get that feeling from something more beneficial, then you might find that you feel a lot better throughout the day.
Absolutely.
hmm
100%.
hmm And so now recently, like with your channel, you post quite a lot when you are posting, reviewing TV shows, and so you've basically monetized a way to watch TV. From what I can tell, so you watch these shows, you get on live streams, and you talk about each episode or a trailer or whatever. Like, so what does your day to day look like? Do you watch as much TV as I think you do, or you also seem like a very busy guy? So clearly, your schedule must work a lot of things into it. So what does your day to day look like, TV and all?
Well, that's why I'm taking a break right now, because normally I don't like to review more than two shows simultaneously. But it's getting to the point where I can't really do that anymore just because of the dearth of available content nowadays that wasn't there when I first started doing content and movie and TV show reviews. And so the last, I'm going to say 3 months, I've been reviewing four shows in that time span, which kind of burnt me out, which I am working on some other things as you mentioned. And so normally what a day looks like for me is, I depend upon where we're at in the show. The show comes out, you review the show, then they usually have a trailer that comes with the show. You review that trailer the next day. And so I wake up in the morning, go hit the gym, do some cardio, come back home, work on making that trailer, trying to work on making it funny. My channel is a PG channel for anyone that's going to follow it. You will hear some profanity. It's well timed profanity. It's not just profanity just to have profanity, to try to lift up the mood a little bit, and then edit those videos and then schedule my uploads some point in time where my analytics tell me is the highest time my audience is online, and then get ready to come up with some kind of a I would say conspiracy video or mystery video dealing with whatever the content is of that particular show or movie I'm reviewing, and then wake up and do the next thing with the other TV shows or movies the next day. So that's pretty much a day for me. I do cardio in the morning, and then in the morning between 9 till about noon, I'm editing and doing the videos. And then at about 2 p.m., I go hit the gym again, hit the weights. And then at about 4 or 5, I'll come and upload those videos if that's the right time to upload them. And then the rest of the day is chilling with my new daughter or just kind of doing some background research for whatever the content is going to be that I'm going to upload the next day or TV show.
hmm Wow, so you work out twice a day, every day. Some people might think that's like a lot of time to commit to working out. Maybe you could be doing other work in that time. Like, what is your philosophy there? Do you feel like it just clears your head? You're making better decisions. Your work is better. Yeah, like what is your justification there?
My whole life motto is life gains, and that just simply means a higher level of quality of life. And you can't have good quality of life if you're not physically fit. And so for me, priority number one is going to always be staying physically fit. I'm getting older, and I want to be someone who's old as hell, that is in good shape and can still go visit, go traveling, jump out of an airplane, all these things I want to do when I'm 70 and 80 years old. And so for me, by doing that, it helps me stay in that modality. It helps me be able to get up and down off the floor to chase around my 2 year old daughter. And I know that later on down the road, that what I'm doing now is going to pay off. And so, fitness is going to always be in the forefront of what I do. And that just helps me stay on a schedule. Now, I don't do it every day. So there are 2 days where I'm not doing one or the other one. So during the weekdays it's two times a day. One is cardio in the morning, the other one is weightlifting. But then I pretty much take the weekends off and just kind of do some fun stuff and just enjoy knowing that I'm striving toward those life gains.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, and I think having weekends off is a good idea. That's a nice balance, right? You're working hard during the week, and then weekends you're enjoying the fruits of your labor. I dig
Right.
it. I think that's really important. So, like at this point, clearly YouTube is going well for you. I think I saw you have over 13 million channel views. You're able to do this, it seems, full time. So like, what is next for you? Are you like, I know you're on vacation right now, so kind of once you feel like you've recovered, like, what is your next plan of action look like?
Well, I'll be returning back to doing more YouTube in June. There are a couple of TV shows that are going to be coming out. One is called The Boys on Amazon. The other one's called P Valley on Stars, that I'm going to be reviewing simultaneously. And I'm going to get back to reviewing some more of the Marvel content. But I'm also working on some other things dealing with Hollywood, potentially maybe some acting or some script writing that I'm kind of working on in the background. Because at some point in time, eventually my channel I see is going to transition to just kind of doing more interviewing inspirational figures in the Hollywood realm. That's kind of the next phase of where I would like my channel to go, but still doing some TV show and movie reviews while we're doing all that. But for me, the next phase over the next year and a half is just trying to see if I can dip my toe into Hollywood and just see if that can take me somewhere positive.
Sure. Who are some people that you really want to interview?
Oh man, Leonardo DiCaprio, Denzel Washington, um, Morris Chestnut. The list goes on and on and on. Viola Davis. There's just a litany of people I would love to interview because I think that they can provide insight to individuals on what life was like as they were struggling to make it. And I think that oftentimes we, as individuals, we see their glory and maybe not necessarily know their story. And I think that if people can hear their stories from a regular Joe like me, it could inspire some people to keep going on those days where it just feels like you want to throw in the towel.
Yeah, I like the idea of kind of getting to know celebrities more personally. Even like talking to YouTubers with these interviews, I feel like I've gotten to know people on a deeper level, and it kind of just it paints a more clear picture of what is really going on behind the scenes. It's always just
Right.
interesting to see kind of what makes somebody who they are. And an interview is really a great format to do that, and I really wish you luck there. Um,
Oh, thank you.
so with that in mind, like clearly you have some lofty goals, like some really awesome goals. Do you feel like YouTube has really changed your perspective on things as far as like what is possible? And I guess the clearest version of this question is just like how has YouTube changed your life? Because before people get started on YouTube, or if they're just getting started, uh, people can sometimes they can question like why do this? Is it worth it? Has it been worth it? And how has this affected your life?
Um, it's definitely worth it because YouTube has given me a presence and a platform to say and incite the things I believe in and I'm passionate about, and it's given me a greater brand recognition. I think that we're getting to a point where it is helpful for individuals to have a positive, good social media presence. When people see that you have a social media presence, that can be a form of credibility for anything else you're trying to do in life. And it can help you probably achieve those things I mentioned called life gains when people can see that, oh, this person had enough grit and determination to build their social media to a point where it's can be monetized. And that's one area YouTube has changed for me. I have greater credibility when I'm asking people to do interviews. It's helped monetize my life to some degree. And it's just given me the platform that when I need to say something that is important that could benefit someone who doesn't have a voice, YouTube has been that apparatus that allows me to do that on behalf of those.
Yeah, for real. There's something about having a YouTube channel with big numbers next to your name that is very helpful. I've certainly found that to be the case as well.
Right,
Whether I'm freelancing or consulting or whatever, if you've built this thing, it gives you street cred. It's just
right.
easier to get people's attention. Big number next to your name. I mean, it feels good, and other people, they look at you a little bit differently for sure.
That's
And
right.
it sounds like most of your time these days is spent on YouTube when you are working. Are you still kind of operating in commercial real estate and spending a lot of time on that, or is that more passive income? How's that work?
It's passive income, but I have a great property manager, and that was something I didn't have in the beginning. And those of you planning on getting into real estate, spend the time to find whoever's in your area is a good verified property manager that make your life a whole lot easier. And now when I have deals or anything that I need to do, I can just shoot into my property manager. I can work the numbers literally within 2 or 3 minutes, and he lets me know if this is going to be something that'll work with the properties that I have. Hey, little escape artist. My daughter's trying to get in here.
We have a special
Forgive her,
guest.
ladies and gentlemen. Right.
Well, if she wants to be on the interview, I'm not going to say no.
Oh, no, no. She's good.
For sure, for sure. So YouTube really is your full time job at this point. Is what it sounds like. You've kind of achieved the dream here, as far as I can tell. Do you feel like you've achieved the dream? Do you feel like you're still kind of like obviously you're still reaching for things, but I guess there's the kind of old adage of uh, whatever you end up getting, you end up desiring more. Do you feel content right now? Where's your head at with all this?
I think my head has grown to the point of never being content. Because if you get content, you're not growing. And it's kind of with YouTube. Yes, YouTube for me is still growing. I am growing that brand, but it's also at a point where there's still other things I want to do. And so I would say I'm never someone who's going to be content with where I'm at, no matter what I achieve. There's going to always be another goal to strive for, always something I can help do, always a way to increase my creativity. And I would say I'm at a good place with YouTube, but content, I'm not per se content because I'm still striving to do more.
Yeah, and I know you have a Life Gains Finance channel as well. Could you tell us a bit about that?
I'm actually not doing a whole lot with that right now. I've started that channel for a couple of people that when I was doing live stream during the pandemic, a lot of people asked me about my real estate. A lot of people asked me about stocks, and they asked me how did I get involved in those things. And that's pretty much what that channel was put in place to do. Just teach people how to make proper stock investments, teach people how to invest in real estate, and also teach people a little bit about how to do options in the stock market. And that's kind of what I started that channel to do. But what I quickly learned is it's very hard to do two channels whose purposes don't coexist. And
Mm-hmm.
so what I told people I would do is, we would keep on my main channel a day where we do live content that covers entertainment news and financial news. And that's pretty much what I've done to just kind of help keep those individuals that, came upon my old financial videos back in the day on my main channel to help keep them happy. I'll put those up there, but thankfully they watch the same stuff I like to review on top of all that.
For sure. And when it does come to your movie reviews, how do you differentiate yourself? Because there's a lot of channels out there that do review movies or video games or kind of whatever. What do you think it is about your channel in particular that has allowed you to cultivate an audience? Like, do you think Is it's just your off the cuff nature? Like, what is it that draws people to you? Do you think?
For sure, the off the cuff nature, and I means tested this because there was a time I tried to be more structured and organized and not use profanity at all, and I just noticed my views as well as my subscribers dropped. And so I would tell any creator, be yourself. Be authentically who you are, and that is going to drive you traffic as you grow. And so when I start being myself and I start interjecting funny lines that was just right off the brain, and I would even drag my wife up here sometimes and antagonize her with some of these TV shows, people really adored that and loved it. And so that's been pretty much the thing that has separated me from anyone else, just being authentic to who I am and making sure that my videos provide, at the very least, entertainment as much as they provide information about said TV shows and movies.
Right on. Yeah, and I think anybody who can make their name in a space doing that, it is impressive. Like not to toot my own horn, but I was kind of doing that with video games as well, and we covered a lot of TV shows on Treesicle. And it was difficult to kind of deliver every week or several times a week, like an interpretation of a show. I think also one thing that I experienced, and maybe you've experienced this too, is when you start covering TV shows for a living, when you are watching TV, you kind of end up getting in your own head about like, oh, is this something I could talk about on the podcast or on a video? And at least for me, it like sort of ruined TV shows for a while. Like I couldn't watch one without feeling like I was working. Is that something you've dealt with?
Absolutely, which is why I said I have my rule. Well, I'm only going to do two shows. I like to try to keep it at two shows, and this last 3 months reinforced why I like to do that. And the other thing that I try to make sure I'm doing, there are a lot of shows I love that my audience don't love. At my heart, I'm a comic nerd, and my audience is not really in tune with a lot of comics. They're more in tune with police dramas. They're more in tune with that type of content, TV shows and movies, than they are with comics. And so whenever I do anything dealing with comics, that's really I'm doing that for me. That's I'm putting up there what I feel most comfortable and what I like the most. Whereas the other stuff is in essence work. Even though I enjoy it, I don't enjoy it as much as the comics. And so I tend to let my audience drive, I'm gonna say 80% of my content, whereas I do 20% driven by me for the fanfare. And so
Hmm.
that's how I pretty much base what I'm gonna do a review on. If it fits into the realm of what I know my audience likes, then more than likely, and it's not gonna mess up my scheduling with anything else I'm currently doing. That's how I try to pick the shows that I actually review.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that is smart to kind of have that balance between what you think your audience wants and what you want. Because sometimes that is at odds, and it can be, I think, difficult to choose one or the other, or to walk that line, because you're constantly kind of caught between, do I try to monetize this as much as possible, or
Right,
do I stay true to myself? Like,
right.
so I know you have certain rules for kind of limiting the amount of shows that you cover at once. Is there anything else you do to walk that line for yourself to make sure that you are, not too far to one side or the other?
Pretty much that's it. Just really having an understanding of what my subscribers like to watch, and I'm one who reads my analytics on a weekly basis to just see what the trends are, so that I can make sure I'm at least staying with the game, so that I don't lose a bunch of subscribers. And I also watch who my subscribers are subscribed to and see what kind of content they're putting out as it pertains to TV shows and movies. And all these things help for me to drive my main subscribers, all while I'll try to find a different opportunity to put in the things I like. And what I've noticed is that I'm now starting to get subscribers who are crossing over into the things that I really, really like. So I would tell providers content providers, when you figure out what it is that your audience loves, always keep a window in there for things that you like, because as you grow, there's going to be more and more people that like some of the things that you like, and then you're going to have those that just genuinely like you, that may not like what you're putting out that will still support you because they are a fan of you.
Hmm. Yeah, that is probably the most important way to. It's the most important thing about a YouTube channel, to make it sustainable, is people getting interested in you, not just what you're
Mhm.
putting out. This is a problem that I had on my channel, Treesicle, where the videos were great; they were getting lots of views. People really
Right.
liked them, but I was a faceless voice, and my voice
Okay.
was it was more for entertainment purposes. It wasn't exactly conversational or very personal sounding. So one
Okay.
thing that we ran into was, how do you keep this audience sustainable? It was like if we covered something that wasn't super trending, it could be difficult to get the views that we needed because we had a lot of fair weather fans, so to speak.
Right.
So
Hmm.
the fact I think that you kind of get in front of the camera, and your authentic self, you said, is very helpful, and it kind of not only does it save you energy, but I think it just naturally filters out the people who probably shouldn't be watching you anyway, and it saves you time and all that good stuff.
100%. And you're going to get that anybody doing YouTube or anything on social media, you're going to get people who are not going to be faithful to the brand, or they're just there for one particular video. And you've always got to try to find the right mix of make sure you're garnering the audience that's going to stick with you. And that can be a tough thing to do. And that's why I say you must keep a percentage of the content you put out to things that you're really passionate about doing, if that's not your whole entire channel.
Hmm. And you said that you look at your analytics once a week, and clearly you kind of look at what's getting views, what isn't, and you can kind of pivot
Right.
and either change directions on topics or choose an entirely new topic. Is there anything else that you look at in your analytics? Like, do you look at your demographics, or like what else can you tell us about the nitty gritty numbers?
I look at the demographics. I look at where they're coming from. I look at the view duration of subscribe versus non-subscribe. I look at which videos did the best on said weeks. I look at where the traffic is coming from. I look at all those things, and that helps me kind of narrow focus the way I post my videos, when I post my videos, what videos I'm posting, when I go live. And I would encourage all YouTubers and anyone in social media, get comfortable with watching your analytics. It might seem like Greek in the beginning, but as you continue to come back and watch it over and over and over again, you'll get a better understanding of what works so that you are fine tuning your time and you're not wasting it. And I also subscribe to a service called Morning Fame that pretty much gives me those same analytics, but it gives them to me in a different platform. And Morning Fame is something that also lets me know what keywords to use, what SEO to use. It's a great, great service that I've been using to pair with my analytics, and it's really been a helpful thing in terms of making it count and growing my channel.
Morning Fame. I've not heard of that one actually. I've heard of TubeBuddy and vidIQ. Those are kind of the big ones. Is Morning
Right.
Fame new or?
I'm gonna say it's about 3 years new. TubeBuddy and TubeBuddy's pretty much attached with YouTube. So is vidIQ. Morning Fame is you're not gonna find it attached to YouTube. You have to literally go to morningfame.com and subscribe, and it provides you just whose thumbnails compare to yours, whose SEO compares to yours, what it takes for you to rank higher, what it takes for you to rank with these said videos, and it allows you to grow and not waste a whole lot of time having to stay on the platform searching the title and seeing how it comes up without having to go through all that. It allows you to do that, and it's really, really good for helping you grow and knowing when to post your videos and check your backlogs and all that. Really good service.
That is great to know. Thank you. I'll definitely be looking into that after this.
Yeah, check
So
them out.
and another thing I noticed about your channel, your descriptions, you really utilize them well. You have a bunch of affiliate links down there. Clearly, this is an effective monetization strategy. Like, do you have any advice for like getting affiliate links or joining affiliate programs, or is it I guess this question is more for the people watching. I know a decent amount about affiliate links, but I am curious to kind of pick your brain about it and like just hear some advice from you as somebody who really does utilize them to their fullest potential.
I would say people, as you grow, you're going to get emails from tens of thousands of people wanting you to use their affiliate link, mention their affiliate link, and all kinds of stuff. There's whole subscriber hubs where YouTubers can go and see products that they might want to push to their audience. I would always say make sure that whatever you're going to do as an affiliate link is something that you like. You don't have to per se use it, but make sure that you like it and it's well researched. The best research products are the ones that you use. And so for me, if I've got a link, it's pretty much just something that I've used or I'm currently using. I hardly ever put any links to anything that I'm not using unless they send me samples so that I can utilize the product so that I'm giving my audience a fair assessment of what it is that they want me to push in their affiliate links. And so be very judicious in what you push to your audience because you want to keep that integrity with your audience as strong as possible because oftentimes these connections you're making with your audience are going to be lifelong connections and that's a life game.
Yeah, yeah, for real. So how has connecting with your audience kind of affected you on a personal level? I found that sort of streaming and having people who are in the streams a lot, it did kind of it instilled me with a certain amount of confidence. There was this weird feeling of like, I show up and these people show up too. And it like I don't know, it made me feel kind of valuable in a way that was just really different and weird that I wasn't expecting. Did you share that feeling on some level?
I think anybody who you don't have a public presence or a Hollywood presence or some kind of celebrity presence, when you see that on a consistent basis, 100 or more people are coming just to hear what you have to say three, four, five times a week, and then on top of that, they're sending you money via super chat. It's very gratifying. It's gratifying. It humbles you. It lets you know that what you're doing has a purpose. And I've managed to with some of my lesser content to some degree have had people change their life because one guy that I did a stock video with, he's doing stocks full time. He's trading stocks for a living. He sent me one of my biggest super chats. And he sent me a $500 super chat. And when I looked at it, I was like, what in the world? This must be a misprint. And then I later got the message from him. He was like, no, my brother, I sent that to you because after watching your video and watching your live stream, I'm not working my job anymore. I'm trading stocks for a living and listening to you entertain me on these TV shows I love. You've changed my life. And when you hear those stories and when you hear people saying that type of thing about you, it really makes you feel like, you know what? I provided what I said the motto of my channel is, and that is life gains.
Right on. That is beautiful. I love that. Like, man, like a $500 super chat. That guy is grateful for what you have taught him. Props to
You
you,
got
sir.
that right. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. He was very grateful.
Yeah, and I had a similar experience as well with I don't know, just when people have a bit of extra money to throw around and they decide to give it to you, it feels really nice. It's a magical thing. And so, yeah, with this, I've really enjoyed our conversation. I think you have a really fascinating backstory, an interesting story of how you got into YouTube and have kind of learned to make your own money, whether it's through real estate or making videos online. The amount of times you've had to pivot on YouTube, going from cutting cable videos and now you're reviewing TV shows. Like, you're clearly a versatile guy, and I have very much enjoyed our conversation.
Oh, same. Thank you for having me, Grant. I think what you're doing is just as important as any other thing that's going on YouTube because every day people want to be motivated, inspired, and YouTube can be pretty hard. And people can lose their mojo and the wind in their sails gets flattened. But when they hear you doing this and they hear interviews such as this, it can keep them going and it can also brighten their day by giving them insightful ideas about things that they can try to help keep their channel growing.
Absolutely. And so, why don't you tell people where they can find you, pitch all your fabulous, wonderful things?
Oh, well, you can definitely find me on YouTube as Lamont Tyson. I do have a website. It's called shoplifegames.com. You can find me on Twitter if you want to see beautiful pictures of one of the prettiest babies to ever be born on earth. Go find me at Life Games on Twitter. And you can also find me on Instagram where you'll see her there as well. And that's pretty much it for now. There is a Life Games podcast, and you can find that just by searching Life Games podcast, and you can catch some of the podcasts we've done, which are basically kind of replays of our live streams that tend to be very entertaining and get out of hand and can give you some entertainment through the day if you need to pick me up.
Right on. And there you have it. And thank you for watching. That is a wrap for us, and I will see you in the next one, dear viewer. Bye, everybody.